Howdy, friends, and I'm back. And I know it's been a long time, but I'm here and I'm ready to show you all things about SEO. Okay, if you are here, know that you're on the best SEO channel on YouTube. I actually cover real things that you're going to learn today that aren't, I don't know, fake, clickbaity, all that good stuff. If you are here for the first time, know that I do unscripted today, still pretty unscripted. We're going to kind of do this live, have a little bit of fun, and yeah, uncut videos because I think that's what makes it real. So if you're here, you really want to learn SEO, you can go to any other YouTube channel that you want, but guess what? I can guarantee you that you're going to get a bunch of fake stuff. I am an SEO professional. I do this professionally. I do this with some pretty large clients, okay? I don't really disclose that too much, but anyway, I know what I'm doing, and I'm happy to help you, and I'm here to help you, okay? I'm here to help you. So, if you are going to listen to any SEO, before we begin anything, you need to know that they should be showing you a case study website, okay? People who know SEO know how to get results. That doesn't mean that they don't have Google barking back at them. Sometimes sites crash. Sometimes sites go through changes with a content strategy that needs to be adjusted, etc. Okay? That definitely happens. But you need to be able to show a website that has real traffic. If you look at these other SEOs on YouTube, what are they showing you? They're just showing you a bunch of AI workflows, stuff like that makes you feel very enamored, but it's not actually getting you results. I posted 200 articles, not 4,000 articles, and comparing me to some of the other SEOs that are on YouTube, I've got, I don't know, now we're up to like 20x the amount of traffic as them, okay? So this is the case study website. Note, I'm going to talk about this all the time. I do it in every video. I say, you know what? The traffic's probably going to go down. Well, sooner or later, it will go down, okay? And if you want to know why it's going to go down, it's because, again, this is going to hit some of those kind of like the helpful content signals because there's no branding on this site. There's no branding built around this site. We're going to talk about that a little bit today, and that's why it's probably going to get clapped a little bit. I expect that to happen, and when it does, then we'll have a little bit of fun adjusting the site, and I'll show you what we'll do to kind of adjust for that. Okay, and that'll be part of the case study as well, because growth up to like 1 million, whatever, that's all a part of knowing how to do this from an SEO perspective, all right? So, case study website, here we go. If you don't like this stuff, fast forward through it because there's a couple of announcements, but go and check out the site. We're up to about 20,000 in traffic. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I have opened up a much smaller subscription opportunity for members, okay? And you can just press join, and the SEO Club is only $5 a month, okay? And inside this channel, what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to have a lot more frequent videos and actually ones that are a little bit more even informal than this. So you get to see inside the mind of an SEO. I'm going to do some kind of like live analysis videos, like kind of walking you through the work that I do every single day and what I'm noticing, things that pop up, right? And these are going to be like truly like inside the mind of an SEO, like a professional SEO. So if you really want to learn stuff and you really want to learn from like the levels before I even actually like package it up and show it to you, I'm going to be doing it in here, okay? And I'm going to be doing weekly videos in there. So $5 a month, pretty cheap. Remember the Truth Serum package though, that's where I'm going to be showing the stuff that I've actually like truly spent time to protect, and I am suggesting that that's a place where, you know, there's going to be like an even trade. This SEO Club is just a little bit more kind of like more informal stuff, all right? So places where we can have some fun, and like I said, you can see inside the mind of an SEO. Okay, so today, if everyone is thinking alike, then somebody isn't thinking. George S. Patton, I love that. Or Patton, excuse me, I love that. Okay, so I covered this in my last video, and I really think it's important to go over this again. These are the various signals that Google is using today. Okay, these change so much. So let's go over it again. Branding, very important. Backlinks, super important. Search intent match, definitely important, but not as important as it used to be. Info gain, very important. And user signals, also very important. Okay? When you compare that to Google a year ago, branding really didn't matter. I mean, it still kind of mattered quite a bit, but not as much. Backlinks definitely didn't matter as much. They do matter a ton now, again, because Google is trying to ensure that everybody who is posting up content has some type of authority to them. But you're going to hear authority mentioned a lot across SEOs. But when I'm talking about backlinks, I'm not talking about like one or two. I'm talking like thousands. Like you got like an 80 DR, which is like very hard to do. Okay. And then search intent match, like they still care a lot about this, but it's less so on the NLP side. So what do I mean by that? Well, NLP kind of uses like particular keywords. So if you use any on-page optimizer, which I would strongly suggest no longer using, so that's like onpage.ai or Surfer SEO or whatever, that's like asking, or ClearScope, that's asking you to stuff in keywords. I really wouldn't do that anymore, and it's because the intent match, kind of like the term-to-term intent match. And what do I mean by that? I mean what a user's question is and how well you're answering that question, which is what we're going to poke at and pry at today. I'm going to show you that. That got a whole lot of like more priority in the adjustment now, okay? So it used to be NLP. Now it's a lot more about search intent, okay? If you don't know what search intent is, yeah, you'll have to start there. And then info gain. Info gain is super critical. So I have an article that I'll post in the description here, and that article will show you actually kind of like a study that was done that actually revealed how some of the optimizations to get into SGE, now they're calling it Geo, kind of resulted in better rankings. But I think what's really interesting is when you look at that list based on the study, what you can notice is that list is essentially doing what we're going to do here today, okay? So that's one thing. All right, and then user signals, definitely a lot more important than it was prior. And those user signals are things like time on page, whether people are clicking around your website, etc. If you don't want Google to see that, my recommendation, uninstall Google Analytics. I will be doing the research here soon to go through their entire user level agreement and show you where they're essentially saying if you install Google Analytics, they will be able to track and show and report back data to their search team, okay? So that's how they're doing it. So if you don't want that to be taken into consideration, uninstall Google Analytics. Everybody's got it, so use a different analytics tool. All right, so today what we're really going to talk about is basically hacking helpful content update signals. And yes, this is a real thing, and this is primarily the strategy that I've been using these days, and I will show you a little bit more about how to hack it. But essentially today what we're going to do is going to go through a really simple use case of not writing a full document, but writing somewhat of a document to show you exactly how you can hack helpful content update signals, okay? So there's basically three pretty simple steps. It's one, make sure that the core of the information is at the top of the page. So if somebody comes in with a question, and I'm not talking about an actual like question mark question, I'm talking about like a curiosity question, which we'll get into today. Put that information at the top of the page. Number two, eliminate all fluff content. We're going to go through that today too, which is great. Honestly, this saves you more time. This allows you to create content faster. This is all actually like a huge benefit. And then number three, only lean into info gain opportunities. Don't try to copy all of your competitors and then build on it using that skyscraper method. That skyscraper method used to basically take all of the headlines that were in competitors, okay? You would rewrite all of those same headlines, and then you would add more. Well, if you think about it, that's kind of just like duplicating content that's already available on the web. And that's really not what Google wants. They want to know that you have a unique document that looks different than the other documents that they're putting up there. And that way they can better understand what the user is looking for. Remember, Google's job is to answer a question. And so they're going to do every possible thing that they can to make sure that they answer that question for the end user. They are still a search engine, and they still want to make their users happy. Okay? So hacking helpful content update signals. So I've got an example for you. I've already pulled up a keyword. You can pull up any type of keyword that you want, but you got to make sure that it's informational intent. Okay, I'm going to keep using that word, intent. So there's multiple different types of intents. Whenever you're talking about professional SEO, there's transactional intent. That means that somebody is kind of looking to shop, so transactional purchase, okay? There is service page intent. Those are things like if you're browsing, like to download an app, or maybe like, for example, like if you're going to the Uber homepage, this is a little bit more related to like a service intent rather than transactional intent. And then you also have the informational intent, which we've already covered, and that's just essentially long articles, long form articles that are addressing a question. And then you have, lastly, commercial investigation intent. Commercial investigation is essentially just like navigational. It's also kind of like, I would say it's like somebody who's maybe looking up something that's more on the B2B side, okay? All these intent types are really important to understand because you need to show Google that you know what the user is looking for beyond just content. Informational content or informational intent is the easiest because it's just the most written form, okay? So if I will do videos in the future around service pages and how to optimize those. We've talked a little bit about e-com, so if you're on my channel, you can go and see that. But certainly service pages have a much different tactic. Like let's say if you're trying to get people to download an app, or if you're trying to get people to, I don't know, generate leads for you, right? Like so, like fill out forms and do all stuff like that. Then none of this really like relates, okay? Because this is all informational intent, and this would be like for on those websites, like if you're a chiropractor or something, writing a blog post, okay? So intent types are really critical, and we'll go over those in future videos. But today, we're just focusing on hacking the helpful content update. And yes, you can actually hack it. And here's why. So many people out there have followed that skyscraper method that I just mentioned, where they kind of like list out every single headline and then try to build on that there's actually ways to poke and prod at doing the complete opposite. So just being totally different. So I'm going to show you that today. Now, to note, that is essentially the method that has been growing this website. Okay, so this is a newer method, and sure, in the future, it could die off. Google could actually start to look for something different, and that could be the case. But today, it's still working quite well. Okay, so another really helpful tool here is that Ahrefs actually has this identify intents little tab, and I've been using this like a little bit more now. So you can see it says icebreaker questions for conversation starters. These intents focus on providing a list of icebreaker questions to help start conversations. Okay, icebreaker questions for work, specifically tailored for work events. For adults, the intents of this is suitable for adult audiences. So that might mean like a little bit more spicy or something like that. Okay, this is actually super helpful. And like I mentioned, being able to understand the core query or the core question that somebody is coming to the page for. So when you think about resources, okay, no matter what the resource is, like a page is a resource, okay, no matter what the resource is, at the end of the day, you had a question in your mind that caused you to search Google to look for it, whether it's a recipe, whether it's like something entertaining that you want, or even understanding like maybe how tall somebody is or something like that. These are still questions that you have. So those are the intents. Now, this little kind of sidebar over here is super helpful in you being able to understand that from the core level first before you begin writing. The other thing that I want to mention is that Ahrefs kind of has this really unique ability now, which is it shows you the words. So what I want you to do is I actually want you to focus on the number of words that we see here. We see 4,800 words, 4,000 words. Some of the pages it can't read, but this is certainly 3,000 words or 3,600 words. And what I'm going to actually suggest for this particular type of an article, if I were to be writing it, we're not going to write it in full, but for this particular type of an article, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to show you how I would create an outline for this, how I would kind of like legitimately write the content and expand on it, and essentially write something that has a fraction of the word count that I think will actually rank even better than some of these others, which I know sounds kind of crazy because they all have high domain ratings. So like I said, we are going to hack the helpful content update signals because all these are actually not so good. So your second piece of criteria that you need to look for when you're doing kind of keyword research here is a keyword cluster that has a large word count associated to them that seems somewhat unnecessary, okay? So look for large word counts in the SERPs that seem somewhat unnecessary. So basically like this. So if we were to write an article, let's say it's just icebreaker questions, okay? That's what we're going to do. We're going to say icebreaker questions. Okay, here's what we're going to write. We're going to say icebreaker questions are questions that people can ask each other to start conversations. Okay, these are open-ended questions that lead to discussion. The purpose of The question is for 2 or more people to learn about themselves and the others who are playing the game. This isn't real, okay? I'm just doing this hypothetically. Now, here's what most people will do. They'll say this. In this guide, we are going to look through the content, okay? So, no more of this. This is what everybody is writing. I want you to get rid of this stuff. Stay short. It's okay, but address the core question. So typically, if you're thinking about this intro, typically people would do this. What are icebreaker questions? Do you see? And they would make this a headline, okay? And what I'm actually asking you to do is to no longer have that headline and just get to the answer much quicker. So that is the answer to what are icebreaker questions. It's just our introduction paragraph, okay? Now, because we would typically in other articles, what we would do is we would do key takeaways, and we would start there first because that would have essentially the answer to the question. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say this, okay? Our favorite icebreaker questions. We could also say the most popular icebreaker questions, but I'm just going to say, for the sake of this, our favorite icebreaker questions. What kind of food do you like? You know, who inspires you the most? Where do you go when you need to think? Okay, what would you do for work if you weren't doing this? Okay, and I would so on. So let's just say I would insert probably, 40 more questions here. Not a big deal, okay? And I'm just gonna highlight this just so we can keep track. All right, now, typically what you're gonna do is you're gonna do this. You're gonna say, here are our favorite icebreaker questions when you really want to know how to do this, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and this is what most people are doing. They're doing all these kind of like introduction paragraphs, right? You've probably got them riddled all over your website, and I'm actually telling you, no, don't do them. Get rid of them. Just go straight to the answer as quickly as you possibly can, but make sure that you are answering the question, okay? It's really interesting how the helpful content update is working. Now, we've essentially answered the question for the user, if you think about this. We've answered icebreaker questions. If we go back, it says, okay, the core of the intent is icebreaker questions for conversation starters. These intents focus on providing a list of icebreaker questions to help start conversations. So we've done that, right? We've done that as high up on the page as possible. But Google is going to want to see more, right? Because that's what's going to make this competitive. So now we need to think about our outline for some of the info gain opportunities. And when I think of info gain opportunities, I really go into here, into the terms match. I've showed you all this before, but again, we're just going to do this again for the sake of the outline. So I'm going to look at the left side here. I'm going to look at the left side, and I'm going to look for these keywords. Now, these keywords, because they're all under terms match, are going to be related to icebreaker questions. And I'm not even going to look at the first page results. That would be something even better, is to actually go through the first page results for that particular keyword and find what is not there, okay? That would be the better SEO tool that was out there. All the SEO tools, if you think about it, are guiding you towards what is on other people's pages. I actually want to know what is not on people's pages. And that is what we're doing professionally on a daily basis. And that's why people are still hiring us, is because essentially we're spending the time digging through the research and determining what is not on competitors' pages and addressing that. And that has, honestly, like a much better effect in both rankings and also for the core business itself, okay? And that's why we're part of the Tonka Truck SEOs. Actually, never mind, we're not the Tonka Truck SEOs. We are the big rigs, right? That's right. Okay, so anyway, let's get back to this. Teens, kids, groups, small, dating, meeting, okay? All this stuff. Okay, rather probably doesn't work. But students, teens, kids, that all works, okay? Deep, quick. Okay, I'm going to go through this. And now, honestly, you just figure out what this is all about. You don't even really need to like do a whole lot of digging. So Christian, kids, teens, etc. So basically in this outline, I'm going to say icebreaker questions. Okay, for teens. I'm going to say questions for Christians, questions for kids. Let's see, super deep icebreaker questions. Okay. I'm going to do that. Okay, I'm just going to make these H2s real quick just so we can see this. And then I'm just going to write a couple here. You don't have to watch. Well, you do have to watch. Keep watching, keep watching. But what I'm going to say is that you just put in probably 40 of each. But just again, for the sake of seeing how this kind of all comes together, I'm going to keep going. So icebreaker questions for teens. So what class do you like the most at school? Okay. And then again, insert probably 40 questions here. Okay. So then questions for Christians. So like, when do you feel closest to God? Okay. 40 more questions. Questions for kids. What's your favorite thing that your mom or dad cooks? Okay. Awesome. Remember, we are the Tonka Truck SEOs. Actually, just kidding. We are not the Tonka Truck SEOs. Are we the Big Rig SEOs? What are we? I don't even know anymore. My head is going crazy. All right, so super deep icebreaker questions. So let's see. So what I would say is maybe like, I don't know, when is the last time you considered free will to being, I don't know, real? I don't even know. Doesn't even make any sense to be real. Yeah, there we go. Okay. When was the last time you considered free will to be real? There you go. Okay. Now, and also don't have any typos in your documents. Okay, I'm doing this fast. So now you can get to see what I have is I have a general outline for an article that's pretty impactful, right? So it's answering questions. It's getting into InfoGain. You're going to ask, like, do images matter? Not really, but if you are going to do images, just make sure that they are unique. Unique images does matter. It can be helpful, but honestly, what I've noticed is that just simplicity of the document is what's helping to rank the most. Okay, now, what is it else that you're going to do? Trust me, everybody does this. Conclusion, something that goes here. Now, think about that. Okay, do you really need a conclusion? When is the last time that you read an article and that you actually read the conclusion portion of the article? Seriously, like you as a user still use Google, right? When was the last time you used that? Probably never, right? Google knows that. Trust us, they know that. So get rid of it. Get rid of stuff like that. So what you've seen is I've actually eliminated quite a bit from my document here. So my document is super, super specific, okay? It addresses InfoGain opportunities. It doesn't have fluff content. And it's like, honestly, it answers the question for people. And this is how you can poke and prod and basically hack that Google's helpful content update, okay? It really does work. I know it sounds crazy, but give it a try. Now, what scale do you actually have to do this at, okay? You have to do this at a scale of, I'm talking like maybe 10 to 50 articles before you'll be able to see some traction. It's not going to work for every single keyword. Remember that this is still like an experiment. But the good news is with Google, and I will show you this in the future, even if you expand on your article later, that's a good thing, okay? But removing content, it's funny, Google actually doesn't love that as much as it does when you actually add content back. So start small, add content in, and that actually has a much faster turnaround time for Google to be able to reevaluate the document, okay? So this, I know this sounds crazy. I know this sounds simple, but this is how you hack Google. Last but not least, always make sure that your page titles are very descriptive to what it is that you're trying to target. Make sure that it's in the meta description, even though they say meta descriptions are no longer part of the ranking updates or whatever. No longer part of how it considers documents. Keep doing it. H1s, page titles, and meta descriptions are extremely important to identifying the intent of the page and being able to rank you. So if I'm going to create this page, okay, this is the last part of this, okay, this is very, very important. I'm going to go through the titles that are on this page, and I am going to find a unique title. So see how everybody did these numbers? 330, 200, 160, okay? Don't do this where it's just the exact match keyword. Don't do that, okay? So now, what am I going to say if I'm going to make something that's different from all these page titles? I'm going to say this. Super unique icebreaker questions. Maybe I would say 2024. Boom. See how different I am being? Honestly, the fact that you are different gives you a competitive edge. It tells Google, wait a second, like in terms of the actual machine, it says, wait a second, this is answering the question. It's answering it pretty quickly. It's also very different. It also seems very human-like. So that's going to be very interesting to me, and I'm going to go ahead and test this by throwing it up to end users and determine whether or not they like it, whether or not it answers their question. So remember, page title, super, super important. Keep that unique one. When you look at your competitors, be very unique. Make sure your meta descriptions are targeting your keywords, and then just get to the answer very quickly. Okay, bonus content. So if you just want to stay a couple more minutes, I got more for you. So how would you optimize this even more? Okay, remember, EEAT stuff is not really about you describing your experiences, okay? So if you wanted to optimize this document even more, how would you do it? So this is not part of the outline, okay? So like, how would you do it? How would we optimize this even more? Okay, we would include real interviews from real people, you know, experts or other people in the field. Okay, this is essentially info gain if you think about it. So you would say something like, you know, I spoke with expert, you know, Andy Smith about icebreaker questions at work. You know, he said the key to questions is yada, 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 right? This is essentially called a pull quote. So use those. That would really help quite a bit, okay? Make sure that you include lots of internal and external links to highly relevant sources, okay? This definitely helps quite a bit. It's not a requirement, but it definitely helps quite a bit as you think about scale of your content development, okay? So that definitely helps quite a bit. Include real quotes, include real internal and external links, okay? Cite your sources as well. So that means essentially like listing where you got inspiration for these questions. Try to avoid citing other articles, okay? So you want to cite essentially EDU and government resources mostly, okay? So this would be like anything in your article, like if you did want to expand on this, like I said, stay a couple extra minutes. If you wanted to expand on this and you wanted to say something around, I don't know, at the bottom of your page, remember this is now all at the bottom. So structure and flow of your articles is key when you're trying to hack that helpful content update. So answers to the question all the way at the top, but if you want a little extra like kind of buffer of some good stuff, do it like this. Okay, say, why icebreaker questions make an impact in the workplace. According to a study by, you know, Research Insights, they found asking questions leads to 10% more collaboration in the workplace. Okay, and then this would essentially be, you know, linked of some kind. Okay, so it'd be like blue or something. Whoops, so it'd be like blue. Don't worry, we can figure this out. Okay? So it would be something like that. And then you would have maybe a pull quote that's in there, and now you're actually linking to some really interesting and relevant external resources. Now keep in mind, AI has a tough time doing this. I don't know if you're catching on at all, but essentially what they're telling you is that they don't want you to use AI. They want you to use your human brain, and they want you to do all the different things inside the document that show that you've used your human brain. You can still use AI, trust me, but what I'm going to tell you right now is that AI is not saving you that much time because you still have to add in all these little extra things. And all these little extra things, when you really build in the list of it, when you really build in the list of modifying your content, modifying your document, modifying the page structure of it, making sure that the question is all the way at the top, making sure that it's very brief, making sure that the content is not like anything else that's already there on Google. When you start to do all this, you realize like, holy cow, this is taking a very long time. And it really does, okay? Follow my research here. Try to replicate this for your own site and become part of the big rigs. That's right. I accidentally said that we were part of the Taco Truck SEOs, and we are not. We are the big rigs. Okay, and so if you are here, understand that I do offer services. A number of people come to the YouTube channel. I do appreciate that. Remember, you don't have to buy anything from me. I do these videos. There's plenty of my videos already available that are teaching you everything, but times change, and sometimes people just want somebody else to help them kind of cut through the noise and figure out what's going on. So we do complete build outs of either niche sites, work with e-commerce brands, just work with brands in general. If you're trying to invest in SEO as an acquisition channel for your business, I definitely help. You can reach me on the channel. There is a link to my email, and you can just reach out to me by email. And then some people just want this editorial work where, just like I said, we kind of figure out how to strategically go after a content strategy that's going to help you rank, okay? Using these exact methods that I just went through and took a long time to go through it today, okay? And so you can just hire us to do it. You see this, it says content optimized through Surfer SEO. We're not really even doing that much anymore, to be perfectly honest. It was kind of just like, should we? And over the past few months, it's really shown that it's not a requirement anymore. You don't need that NLP stuff. You really just need to match a lot of the intent. And although a lot of people are going to roast me on that because they're going to say NLP's not this or that and this or that. It kind of is if you think about it. It's just keyword stuffing. You don't really need it, okay? So 50 articles of work for around $3,000. You can reach me at this email here. And no, just remember, again, you don't have to buy anything from me. Just keep watching my videos. I'm going to try to make things even more impactful in the future. Today, again, it was all about hacking the helpful content update. Look what we made. Even just in a few short minutes, honestly, this article's not even that bad. If I were to add in 40 questions into each one of these, you could just see right off the bat, this actually looks pretty good. So trust me, it's a lot easier than it might seem. Just remember, target the human now. That's what Google wants you to do. And to target the human, it's actually a lot simpler than you might think. So have some fun with it, and I will see you next time. Like, subscribe, do all those things, leave comments, and I will definitely answer your questions. I appreciate you for watching this long video. Have a wonderful day. Hugs and kisses. Goodbye, my bulk ponies.